Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Rabbit Roo. We're back with another Starcraft Broodwar remastered ladder cast for you today. We are on Knockout 1.1. We're doing a Zerg versus Terran. Our Zerg here spawning in blue. In the bottom right of the map is our ASL 20 champion Soma, and he is playing against one of the best Terrans in the world, spawning here in the bottom left. It is Sharp. So a little bit of ZVT action for you today, and looking forward to it. I think it's a matchup that I'm improving my understanding of on a regular basis and am really enjoying it. We're on Knockout 1.1, which has got these interesting little terrains and nuances to it. A lot of forward walling being done by our Terrans, and a lot of proactive scouting needed by our Zergs to understand exactly what sort of style or aggression our Terrans are going with. Some other ladder maps that we've been doing recently that have certainly been lending themselves to some fun games are Litmus 1.1. I'm a little bit disappointed that not more maps that I'm finding, or not more games that I'm finding, are played on Litmus. But that being said, we're usually looking for a criteria where we've got 20-minute plus games, and a lot of those are just not happening on Litmus for whatever reason. Okay, so pretty standard opening here from Sharp, and a 12 hatch from Soma. So all of the conventional standard openings that you would expect from both players at this stage. So before we get into it, I just wanted to give a shout out to the team at seaworld.gg for the ladder replay API that they've created. It's been around now for a couple of years. I think everybody knows about it, but it's just something that a recreational caster like me is just massively grateful for, because without it, I would not be able to do casting, because I would not have access to the best players in the world on the ladder. Would not have access to their replays. Replays for a long time were an incredibly guarded thing, and now we have competitions like Pro League, KCM, ASL that are being cast in English everywhere, and we also have the ladder games of everybody available. So it's sort of blown the lid on the so-called mystery. People used to try and put their replays behind paywalls, all that sort of crap. So I'm very, very grateful that that has stopped. He's going to get this SCV. And very, very grateful that we have access to these replays. I did, when it first came out, actually wonder how long it would last and if somebody could somehow block it. But it has somehow seemed to have stood the test of time. And I think everybody's kind of just used to it and accepted it. And yeah, it's a good thing. So Sharp expanding behind this forward racks opening, is getting his second and third racks before Academy, so that tells me that it's going to be a timing of some kind. Soma has quite aggressively taken his third hatchery on location as opposed to a macro hatch, so we will see how he manages to defend all of his positions. Sharp at this stage doesn't have an academy and therefore wouldn't have any scanners. Does have his academy coming up though. No eBay, so this doesn't seem to be a +1 timing. It might just be a range timing. We'll have to see how he wants to play it out. So layer tech on the way. We don't see a Hydrogen as of yet, so it looks like it's in all likelihood going to be Spire from Soma. Sharp is sending out some Marines on the map. I think he has a sense that there might be a map base to be found, and his SCV is going to scout it. And there he finds it. So let's see how quickly he turns his units to go and pressure there. Soma is posturing around with a handful of lings, but that really shouldn't be much of a bother. So yeah, it's 2026 now by the time you're watching it. It's not 2026 when I'm recording it. It's actually only the 30th of November. But because I am going overseas for a couple of weeks towards the end of the year, I'm just banking up as much content as I can so that I can maintain my consistency and my upload frequency and so on. By the time this video comes out, you would have seen I've been experimenting with a whole variety of thumbnail types, some AI assisted and some not. Just looking for some feedback on if you think any of these thumbnails are cool or funny or creative, or if you think they're just crap. I just find doing thumbnails for StarCraft games very, very difficult actually in many ways, because you can either put a lot of effort into them, or you can put no effort into them, and it's difficult to actually tell if it generates a fundamentally different result in both instances. But simply just doing a... there goes that SCV. Simply just doing an action shot of the game has been the staple for most creators for the longest time. But I find that those thumbnails haven't been performing all that well since I've been back. That being said, I haven't done that many games, so that's also probably a little bit misleading. But we will have to see. I'm happy to take on feedback. Obviously, the best feedback you can get is the games themselves and the click-through rates and all these fun things. So this move out from Marine Medics has forced out 5 Sunkens here. This is the big downside for Soma. If you're going to go with taking your third on location, you need to make a lot of Sunken defense. He's got no units at all. He's got 27 supply. All of it is drones. And he doesn't actually have the money. He's got the gas, but he doesn't have the minerals to make mutas. So this is going to basically be Sharp versus Sunkens. Sending in some reinforcements here. Drones are doing a pretty good job body blocking. I think he's going to have the numbers though to knock this base down. 3 mutas are on the way. These drones are really doing an excellent job. But the resistance though has come to an end. And that's the end of that hatchery. Just sending in reinforcements from his base. I think this isn't even enough mutas. This pod of Marines could take this down. Not a problem. So that's the end of the hatch. Okay, so it does actually lose the hatch, but eventually managed to tide it up with a flock of around about 6 mutas. So where do you transition from here if you are Sharp? You're still just running a 3 racks style, is getting his upgrades, has gone on to factory, so we should get some vessels pretty soon. If you're Soma now, you do have a economic disadvantage that you need to come back from. You lost a lot of drones, so not ideal. Sharp using the edge that he gained from that attack to put plenty of turrets in place, so he's not really going to get much done from Mutalisk harassment with all of the static defense that the Terran has. Does dive in anyway. It's a lot of turrets though. He loses 2 mutas. $19 drones. So this is not droning up behind this. That is now finally making some drones, is Soma. Expanding to the same spot that he lost, interestingly enough. He's picked up a decent number of ACVs doing this. He definitely got more done with this muta harassment than what I thought he would get done. Yeah, this is really good muta micro. Just picking off one marine, another marine, SCV. Very, very solid play from our Zerg. Trying to just buy time, keep Terran camped at home. The response there from Sharp is the very popular, at least in now's meta, Valkyrie. So he's got his armory, he's got his star port going, and the Valkyrie Marine tank combo. A nice little tweak in this meta that we've seen in recent times, Terran versus Zerg, and I expect we're going to see Sharp go after the same position again. Queen's Nest is on the way, Hive is on the way, so Soma's progressed very aggressively with his build. Does have some Sunkens coming up, but tanks will be the equalizer against those for sure. Looks like he's just going to take on the natural with 2 Valkyries at this stage. Does have a third one in the production tab. Oof, the micro and the APM on these guys. It's just out of this world, man. Oh, wow. Targets down the tanks. A little bit of micro wars though. Oh, the Valkyrie's just shredding the mutas. And Soma just goes GG. He realizes that's too much firepower. He's going to come up. He's going to destroy this base again. These two played each other again soon after this. I'm going to bring you this match right away. So stay tuned. Alrighty, this time we are on Radeon 1.2. Sharp has once again spawned in red in the top right. So we have cross spawns this time because Soma has spawned in blue and he is playing in the bottom left. I think that expansion on location is always a risk for Zerg, and it was very nicely capitalized on by Sharp. And even though Soma did play his way back into the game with really, really good mutalist harassment, the Valkyrie is proving to be a very powerful counter against mutas. He didn't have lurkers up in time, wasn't going to get that saved with static defense. So a very quick GG. You do see slightly faster GGs on ladder than you do in tournaments because players don't feel as compelled to play the game out. They're playing on the ladder for practice. So it's probably a little bit easier for them to just have the mindset, okay, I'll learn what I can learn from that game and sort of go next, than to play it out to the better end, which is why more and more often I'm seeing some, you know, inverted commas, abrupt GGs in some of these games. All right, so we've not seen anything different yet. It's still been a 12, 10, 11, sorry, a 12, 11, 10 from Soma, 12 hatch, 11 pool, 10 gas, and then making drones, and this forward racks avoiding the bunker from our Terran. It's becoming just standard really on all of these double egg forward maps. It's just a standard open. It's just people are deviating from this very, very seldom. In fact, the only map you're seeing a bit of deviation is Litmus, and that's because of the 2 gases. So what are we going to see that's a little different? I think only time will tell. I do really enjoy Soma's ability to, even if he's had a bad start, play his way back into the game. I think that's one of the things that's making him super impressive. A couple of the Zergs that we're following on the channel quite frequently. We've got Lava, lots of Lava games coming up. Got some Soma games and a couple of Queen games as well. A couple of our favorite Protoss players that we'll be following. So lots to look forward to on the channel. And if you are enjoying what we're bringing to you 3 to 4 times a week, then please do hit that like button. Please comment and engage with the video. I'd love to hear what you're thinking of the casting and any thoughts and room for improvement. And of course, subscribe to the channel if this is something that you can see yourself wanting to watch on a regular basis. As I mentioned before, I am not a professional caster. I do this entirely for fun. I am a very happy and successful business person. I find the time commitment to play this game and to learn this game is probably a bit too much than what I have to give. I'm also Just in terms of natural mechanical ability, I've got very, very little in terms of that. What I do, however, have is a big mouth. So I figured if I if I have an opportunity to talk and enjoy this game, and other people enjoy watching the games that I am watching with a little bit of my commentary, then why not? You know, so that's my why. That's why I do this, and it's a lot of fun. By the time you're watching this, we're probably midway through January 2026, possibly even February 2026. I'm recording this game on the 30th of November. We're banking up a bit of content for my trip to South Africa, which I'm doing at the end of the year. And yeah, just taking a very relaxed and more sustainable approach to the channel this time around. I definitely burnt myself out in years past, and I've done, you know, other things with my time that I've now, you know, lost a little bit of interest in. So we're doing the macro hatch this time. We're not doing the on location, so an immediate adjustment that we see from Soma. But some big stuff happening in Rabbit Roo's life. I am purchasing my first house here in Australia, which I'm really quite excited to do. And yeah, things are going pretty well. It's funny, like a lot. I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but here in Australia, it's almost impossible to buy one house. But when you buy one, it's super easy to buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses. It's if you're good with money and you understand investments and you know, cash flow, interest, income. It's my background. I work as a CFO, so I understand money and interest and cash flow incredibly well. And so these systems are actually incredibly easy to exploit and manipulate and make them work in your favor. Obviously, a couple of things have to go right, but like at a fundamental level, it's basically just math. And yeah, it's just one of those really backwards countries where it's almost impossible to enter, but once you do, you can exploit's maybe not the right word, but capitalize. There you go. Capitalize is probably the right word on the rules of the system and the rules of the game. So it's definitely going to be a fun next 10 years for me as I try and see if I can implement my little financial strategy here in Australia. So I'm turning 40. In fact, by the time you're watching this, I probably will be 40. So going into my next decade of my life, this is the decade where we need to be patiently accumulating wealth if we can, and I'm certainly not going to do that casting Starcraft for a living. And I'm not trying to be offensive to those that do. I'm just saying it's a crowded space, and I don't see myself carving a path here, and I don't need to. I'm just doing this for fun as we watch Sharp move out once again with his bio ball. He got up to 4 racks pretty fast this game, and is putting a little bit of pressure on Soma, who does have his mutas out already and is once again defending 3 locations. He made the macro hatch, but still had the audacity to expand to a 3rd location before getting his mutas out. And this once again opens the door up for Sharp to pressure. But I just feel like Soma's timings here have been really crisp. He's got a lot of mutas out already that can slow the push, giving time for the static defense to come up. And so I think I feel a bit better for him. He is also getting Ling speed. I don't see too many Lings that actually can come and support him in this fight though. Oh dear. Is he going to do this twice in a row? Is our ASL 20 champion just going to get mollywopped here? It's not looking good for him. Overlord goes down. It's going to be painful as he wants to reinforce this area. I don't know if the drones are evacuated or killed. I think a couple of them were picked off. But he's got 4 mutas here, and he is actually going to fend this off. And this is one of those things. It's ZVT is a pendulum-based game, right? So Terran always has units, always has the opportunity to pressure the Zerg. The Zerg's always got to fend off and just almost feels like they're holding on by a thread, right? And then suddenly, you just click a switch and Zerg is just turbo strong. It's just this most crazy paradigm shift. It really is. So Terran is going back home. And now Zerg's in a position to really power up, right? Queen's Nest's on the way. This looks even like, I was going to say somewhat crazy Zerg-esque, but there we just see him start to morph in lurker aspect. So a couple of lurkers will certainly be hitting the field to help hold certain bases and positions as Soma macros up. Soma is definitely one of the more macro-orientated Zergs that I follow. He loves making macro hatches. He loves making, taking the other main base and building like 6 or 7 hatcheries there. So I won't be surprised if this game does go long to see something like that. He just really does thrive on creating a lot of macro hatches and a lot of macro power. And I think you give yourself as Zerg a little bit of margin for error if you miss any of your macro cycles. If you just got heaps of lava, yeah, okay, maybe they can idle 1 or 2 cycles. If your macro is good and you know, managing your engagements and you're hitting your upgrades, I think as Zerg, you give yourself that little bit of slack to then get that extra lava working for you in the late game. When your multitasking is really being put under a lot of pressure, you're playing with defilers, you're spell casting, you've got lots of control groups. It's just, you know, there's a lot on the go. Giving yourself the 1 or 2 extra hatcheries as a luxury to catch up on your macro. It's definitely something Soma does. And I think it's worked incredibly well for him. Alrighty, so we've got our bio ball. We're getting rid of our panel now. We've got plenty of units out on the field. We've got some red swarming across the map. And we're going to go straight for the natural, which is not very well protected. I think he may have scanned it before. Does hit the irradiate on the mutas. Does not get a very good split there. Unfortunately, loses 2 mutas for that. Unit's getting a little distracted. Some lurkers have hit the field though. So we will see. Sorry about that. I don't know why I was receiving these notifications, but I'm not stressed enough. And we got a nice juicy fight here. Oh my gosh. Mutas, lurkers, lings. Killing the remaining bio. It does stem up here, but it doesn't have too many... Oh, it's got a fair number of medics to support this. So it has irradiated this lurker. Picks off another overlord. Boof. Dead. Dead. Third base coming up on location for Sharp. And using his map control and constant pressure to facilitate that. Does have another lurker being irradiated and morphing in even more. Knight is coming in as well. Is he going to take a 4th on location as well? That seems a bit cheeky. Another sound of a dead lurker has been irradiated. Sharp dives in here again. Just unrelenting pressure. Oh, I like the flank from the lurkers though. So bringing in some lurkers from the other side to flank this bio ball. More overlords. This must just be a rally. Like, that's really, really frustrating for Soma. He's just gifted a few overlords here for no real reason. Alright, well, he picks off that ACV. Coming in from the Nidus. Is he just reinforcing from here to there? That's so funny. I've never seen such a short distance Nidus employed before. I really like Sharp. As a Terran player, he is really, really fun to follow. Easy going to take down our ASL champion 2-0 though, or is Soma going to be able to get a win on the board? We will see. It's been a very, very tight game. Very competitive. Oh, some yummy lurker spines coming off here. Oh, some Dark Swarm also hitting the field, so that's a potential game changer. I love the Overlord death animation. Lots of the Zerg death animations are really cool. They're quite explosive in nature. Okay, so the question we have is if we're a 3-basing Terran, which we are, we soon need to become a 4-basing Zerg, or we're running into a little bit of a challenge in terms of economy and scaling. So, the question we have is, when will Soma be able to move out into the map and push Terran back so that he can comfortably expand and take the base of his own? Well, that Firebat just decided he didn't want to live anymore. So, preemptively sending a couple of units here just to check. Are you expanding here? Are you trying to expand here? Another Overlord's going to get killed. That's actually going to supply block him. Can you believe it? He's making 3 more Overlords there behind this. Expanding to a 4th base location here is Sharp. And with the map control that he's got, like you can see this area here, he's constantly cutting him off. You wouldn't imagine that Soma would be able to do too much about that. Nice pick off on the vessel. Oh, the Firebat's got defensive matrix on him. Watch out for the Firebat. He's having a good day here. Uh-oh. Lurkers. Where Marines go to die. Lurker Town. A random drone just chilling here. No more. Sharp is just pushing forward and really restricting Soma's movement so well. I just don't see a scenario where he's going to be able to get a 4th base. That just disappeared before hatching. That's so funny. So it does have this up and running. It's transferring some SCVs across as we speak. Going into a somewhat unassailable lead here as our Terran. Wow. Even tank damage. Somewhat reduced under Dark Swarm. Just not able to get any penetration here. I think he's doing everything as well as he can. Sharp's just in such a big lead here. Sharp's also preemptively looking at spots where Soma will be looking to expand. So a critical moment of the game, he does try and throw down his 4th base, but look how much. It's just coming down. Streams and streams and streams of Terran units. All day, every day, and twice on Thursdays. So just coming here to check if this has been taken. Could intercept some units here. So he's going to dive on these tanks. He does have the Defiler with the army, so he's able to throw down the Dark Swarm and pick off those tanks very, very quickly. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, this very newly established hatchery that's not even done yet is going to be pressured. Does get cancelled, so it denies that expansion without even breaking a sweat. Just don't see a world where Zerg can win on 3 bases. against the 4-basing Terran. Just got units so strategically placed here to block all expansion attempts. And turtling up his own bases himself because he can afford to do so. Oh, that firebat did some seriously heavy lifting. Alright, so our desperate attempt to establish a 4th base has now moved up to the natural of the top left. Firebats mixed in with Marines are pressuring this. Lots of Hydras in this composition from Soma, interestingly. A couple of Scourge engaging with some Science Vessels we heard. Scouting the space here with an engineering bay. 168 plays 96. I mean, there's just no ways he's holding the space. I think the plan is to cut off units over here as much as he can, and then the units that are coming across here are just going to shut this position down. Does get a couple of lurkers in position. Sharp expanding yet again behind all this map control. So 2 lurkers, 4 Hydras. Any reinforcements are going to have to get past this. Siege tank siege is up. Doesn't fire for some reason. And we just absolutely evaporated all those Hydras. Just more and more and more and more Terran. Where are your drones going? Ah, let's try to establish here as well. I think Sharp can just send these units here and waltz across and deny this pretty quickly. Oh no. This hatch isn't done. These drones are going into the danger zone for sure. Another ball stopped. I have watched quite a few Soma games, and I recently cast a game of his against a up-and-coming Protoss called Airfu, and Soma did lose, but it was a competitive game. He fought back quite nicely. I felt like he was in the match. In this series against Sharp, I feel that he was just given absolute hiding from beginning to end. Like, he was never in the game, and I think this is a reminder of two things. One, Sharp is incredibly good, and 2, even if you are the ASL champion, certain matches, certain players, certain maps, and certain build orders will always be a challenge for you. And he's definitely showing a little bit of vulnerability to Terrans. I think if he draws Terrans in the late rounds of ASL, especially ones as good as Sharp, he could have a very tough time. If he keeps drawing ZVZs and ZVPs, then I think he's going to have a better chance. But if I had to go out on a limb and make a statement, I'd say that Zerg versus Terran is his worst match. But this was a very, very fun series nonetheless. Incredibly good play from Sharp. I was so impressed. How good is this guy? It's no wonder he's like the second highest ranked Terran on the ladder behind Rush. He's just absolute superstar. So if you stuck with me this far, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. I will be back again very, very soon. Until next time, take it easy.